My room is a dust magnet like you would not believe. So some of these books like actually dusty. Like I literally have dusty books. That's problematic. Hello and welcome to another video. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. If you're coming back, thank you very much. It's always nice to see. I'm aware that this is like week 3. I'm clearly not aware because I'm like unsure, but I'm pretty sure that this is like week 3 of the month. So we're not like at the very beginning of the year, the very beginning of the month. We're a bit in, but even so, we're still like in the grander scale of a year. We're only 3 weeks in. And so today I'm going to do something that I feel was like a good thing for me to do at the beginning of the year, because it kind of lets me see where I'm at, what I've got to get through. It just lets me know the state of things starting the year. And so today we are going to be doing a run through of every single book that I have on my physical TBR. I love watching these kind of videos. Also, people do like entire bookshelf tours, because I just love knowing the books that people own, even if it is just like a little glimpse. They just say, I have this is why I got it, this is what's interesting to me. Next, I don't know, I just found that really interesting, and so I wanted to make one myself. So yeah, today we will be going through every book that I have on my physical TBR cart, and then I also pulled the ones on my bookshelf that are also like unread, and so therefore on my physical TBR. But anywho, I do realise that doing this right after buying some books is not necessarily the best way to feel good about how small the number is, but I'm also like, I'm aware that compared to some people I have a very small physical TBR, so I'm happy with it, and at least buying new books means I'll have more books to talk about. But anywho, before we get into the video, we're going to go through some statistics. So I wrote down some stats over what books I own because it just seemed interesting to me, and I saw someone else do one of these videos and they did that, and I was like, that's actually really intriguing. I'd like to know how that figures out for me. So I have a grand total of, drumroll, 39 books. So that honestly isn't bad. I'm kind of disappointed it's at 40 because then we'd have like a nice even number, but no, it is 39. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that number. My goal by the end of the year is to get down like minimum 15, but preferably 10. So really that just means I need to read books faster than I buy books, which should be possible because I could read at least like 6 books a month, and I'm hoping not to buy 6 books every month. Another on my bookshelf, so I don't have the money for that. But anywho, within those 39 books, 10 of them are standalones and 29 of them are books from a series. So obviously like there are going to be more from a series because like a standalone is 1 book and a book from a series is minimum like 2. Then I have, to no one's surprise, 27 fantasy books. So that is either standalone fantasy or fantasy in a series. Most of it is fantasy in a series, but still literally no one's surprised that 27 out of my 29 books are fantasy. I actually have no like pure romance books on my TBR because I've read them all. I didn't really have many, to be fair, but the ones I did have, I have read them, so I have no romance books. However, I do have some books I've qualified as LGBTQ+. They're basically literally just the Alice Oseman books. I didn't really know what genre to put them in, so they're LGBTQ+. So I have 7 of those. I have 3 contemporary fiction books, 1 mystery book, and then 1 classic. So that all then adds up to 39 books. So I'd like to say it's a diverse mix of books. It's not really. It's almost exclusively fantasy, but at least like that's what I like to read. I am going to own more fantasy because that's just books that interest me more and that I'm more drawn to and more likely to purchase. But anywho, enough faffing around, enough statistics, enough introduction, and let's just get right on into this video. Okay, so I do obviously have the ones in my TBR cart, and then I also have a little stack on the floor, which were the ones that were on my bookshelves. I think I'm gonna do it by category, you know, so like all the fantasy books, all the LGBTQ+ books, that, although to be fair, at the end it'll just be fantasy, 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 fantasy. We're gonna start off with the ones I have least of and then go on to fantasy last. Okay, the one fantasy book that I have is The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I have this lovely hardback edition that my parents got me, which is very nice. This is my 26 because I want to read more diverse books this year. I want to read more classics, and this is just one that I've seen a lot of people say is like, for a classic is easy to read for a non-classic reader. So that's why I picked this one up. Such a coincidence. The bookmark is like on a random page because it has like one of those like fabric bookmarks. It's part of the book. And I open it and the first word I read is Australia, and well, I'm from Australia. There we go. Funny little coincidence. But yeah, first book on here, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Alright, there you go. Classics done. It was quick and easy. The next category is mystery. Again, just 1 book. It's gonna be quick and easy. Okay, so the one mystery book that I have on my bookshelf, this was a Christmas present, fairly new book, and it's not one I purchased myself. It was one that was gifted to me, and that is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I read her other, like her main series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I love that. And so my sister's got this for me for Christmas, and I am very much looking forward to reading it. It also has got like, they're basic but they're cute. It's like a little what's what, like a cinema clap, I think that's what it's called, and it's on the edge, so there we go. I like this. It's very cutesy because the pages, they might be black, but I feel like it fits the vibe, and then you got this on the side, so yeah, mystery's done. This is going really quickly, guys. Next up we have contemporary fiction. So I have 3 books that I would qualify as contemporary fiction. Obviously this is like my qualification. Like maybe if I were to go on Goodreads or Fable and look at what genre they actually are, it might not qualify them this way. Especially for the fantasy, it probably qualifies something as romantasy, but me personally, I just went with like fantasy. I didn't want to split into fantasy and romantasy, so really just like the fantasy section comprises like YA fantasy, adult fantasy, romantasy, fantasy romance, political fantasy, high fantasy, all the subgenres of fantasy. They're just fantasy books. I've said that word too many times now, it's lost meaning. So for my contemporary fictions, I'm trying to remember what they are. There are 3. Okay, 1. Okay, so the first one I have is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily N. Danforth. I've almost pulled this like in a TBR twice now, and I haven't. It's probably the service to this book. I got this 2 years ago. I'm trying to think. I think just under 2 years ago I bought this because I'd seen a trailer of the movie and it seemed interesting, and so I got the book. Not even the movie, just the trailer. But yeah, so I've had this one for about 2 years, so that's not too bad. A lot of the books on here are more recent, I would say. They're definitely bought within the last 3 years, because that's really when I've started buying books myself, because that's like when I moved out, so when I had the power to buy more books myself. So 2 years is kind of on the older end of the spectrum, but still. The second contemporary fiction I have is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is actually on my TBR for this month. Will we read it? I don't know, considering it's already the 21st and I haven't started it. I'm not too hopeful, but the month isn't over. We've still got like 10 days left of the month, guys. Let's not lose hope yet. There is a chance I could read this book. But again, this one I've had for probably, I think 3 years. I got this in a second-hand shop for like £2, which is really, really cheap for such a big book especially. I'm not really sure why I got this book. We'll see this month or not if I like it, but this one is definitely one that I have been putting off reading because I'm just scared that I'm not gonna like it because it's very different from what I usually read and it's huge. And then the final book, contemporary fiction, although this one, honestly, I don't know if it's contemporary fiction or if it's romance. That's up to for you to decide, but I've put it in contemporary fiction, and that is An Abundance of Catherine by John Green. I put it in contemporary fiction because I read A Fault in Our Stars. While there is romance in it, I would still qualify it as more contemporary fiction than a romance book. Let me know if this is actually a romance book. I obviously haven't read it, so I don't know, but just from the plot of it, I would say it's more contemporary fiction. Or like YA fiction, maybe. I don't really know if there's a difference between contemporary fiction and YA fiction. I need to do some research into that, or you guys can tell me, keep me posted if there's like an actual difference, because I don't know. Alright, we are going through these at a rapid pace. The horses are galloping at precarious speed. Next up, we have my LGBTQ plus books, which are literally only Alice Oseman. They are, and not only are they only Alice Oseman, they're literally only the Heartstopper books. I have every single one of these books, including the 2 novellas that aren't like graphic novels that is written. I have not read a single one. Well, that's not true. I read the first 2, but it was so long ago and I don't really remember. But I did love the series, and so I got myself all of the books. So there we go. We have Heartstopper Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have the first novella, This Winter, and then the second novella, Nick and Charlie. All of these are by Alice Oseman. Obviously, they're all their series. So now we got through every single category of book that isn't fantasy. So obviously, we're going to do the fantasy books. And here's where we get into the nitty gritty of it. So I think I'm just going to do standalones first and then fantasy series after to try and give it some order. The White Whale of my bookshelf, the book that I've had for 2 and a bit years now that I have not read despite being so excited to get to it, is The Priory of the Orange Tree. But at the same time, look at this book. Look at this book. This is by Samantha Shannon. I have read none of her other books, but I really, really want to read this. It is on my 2026 will be the year that I finally read this book. Mark my words. If I do not, there'll be no real consequences. I'll just be very disappointed in myself. But yeah, so this is the first fantasy standalone, and probably one of the, I think the fantasy standalone I've had for longest. Probably not the book I've had for longest on my TBR, but it's been here a while. Next up we have a new one. This was my Christmas present, which I was so happy about because I really wanted to get it and to read it, and that is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. It's honestly, I expected it to be bigger, but I guess maybe because it's hardback, if it was the paperback version it'd be a bit bigger, but it's quite small. I'd say it's probably about 300. Yeah, it's only about 300 pages, but I cannot wait to read this book. I love every single Alex E. Harrow book that I've picked up, and I know that this one will be no different. Next up we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This, I literally got it this week. So this is a very, very new purchase. It's one of the newest additions to my TBR. So yeah, this one is one I'm not necessarily, I do really want to read it, but because it's recent, if I don't get to it soon, it's like not bad. It hasn't been sitting on my TBR staring at me for years, so there we go. Another recent addition, standalone, is Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashadoust. I don't know how you pronounce that. This is another hardback, one that I got just last week. You can check it out in my Dublin book shopping vlog. I did a little vlog when I bought all these books, and again, this is one I've been wanting to read for so long, but it's only been on my TBR for a week, so while I do really want to get to it, it again hasn't been staring me down. And then the final fantasy standalone that we have is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. I got this myself a few months ago, maybe 4 months ago I think, when I went to the UK. I got some Waterstones. It's the Waterstones Sprayed Edges exclusive, and it's gorgeous. She's got basic black on the top and the bottom, but this is just lovely, and it fits so well with the vibe because you've obviously got this design along here, on the spine, and then here, like on the main cover. So yeah, I haven't had this one for very long either. This is more of a new purchase, but I cannot wait to get to it. Okay, so we have gone through all of the fantasy standalones that I have, and now all that's left to go through is my fantasy series. So a lot of these, really honestly with my TBR, it's really a mix of like new stuff and old stuff, because oftentimes I will buy a book and immediately read it, or at least that's what I used to do. Now, because I'm trying to get through my TBR, I've taken to trying to read more my backlog of books that I've had for a while before, and using like my new purchases to motivate myself. Like if I read 5 of my old books, I can then read a new one. But most of the time what I did do was I'd get a book and immediately read it, which means that you've either got some very new ones or some very old ones. You don't really have any from like a year ago, because I read those when I bought them. Anywho, we're getting off topic. So yeah, so either for the fantasy series, sometimes it's just one book, but it's part of a series, and sometimes I do have the entire series or close to. Let's just start off at the bottom. So this one is, again, the final very new purchase, and that is Namesake by Adrian Young. So this is the second book in, I don't know what the duology is called, but book 1 is Fable. And yeah, I just bought this. I could not find the first one, otherwise I would have got the first one. So I only have the second one in physical, but who knows? There's still, maybe I'll come across the first one sometimes before I read this and I'll get it in physical. Then we have, for some reason we only have book 2, but that is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is the second book in the Red Queen series, so book 1 is Red Queen, obviously. This isn't even actually technically my copy, it's my sister's, but she has obviously read the whole series and I haven't, so I took it for the time being, and it's been on my TBR shelf. But yeah, I don't actually know why we only have the second book, because we have all the other ones on Kindle. I don't know why we only have the second book in physical, but life's mysteries. Then I have the entirety of the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle Darbos. So that is A Winter's Promise, The Missing of Claire de Lune, The Memory of Babel, and The Storm of Echoes. So yes, I have 2 of these in hardback and 2 of these in paperback. These were a gift from my aunt for Christmas, for like me and my sisters, which is why we have all 4 of them. My sisters read this. They said it was good, but yeah, I do have the whole series and I haven't read any of it, and I've had these, well, we as a sisterhood, me and my sisters have had these for probably about maybe 4 years. I think 4 years. So, but to be fair, these weren't just like mine. I only brought them up to my personal physical TBR like 2 years ago. So I've only had these for 2 years, but like I've had them for 4 years. But yeah, so I do have this whole entire series, despite having read none of those books. Another one where I have almost the entire series is the City of Bones series by Cassandra Clare. So I have the first book, City of Bones. I have the second book, City of Ashes. Book 3, City of Glass, and then book 5, City of Lost Souls. So obviously, as I mentioned in my last video, I only get these from secondhand shops. So if I see one of these, the original Shadowhunter series in a secondhand shop, I buy it. And so far, well, obviously I've only seen 1, 2, 3, and 5. So I'm still waiting on 4 and 6, but I do really want to read these soon. I have technically read the first one, but years and years ago, so I don't really remember it. So I'm looking forward to getting through these. So another one, this one's part of a duology, and that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. So again, this has come up on a couple of TBR videos and it just hasn't been chosen, because when I got this one, I was really excited to read it, but then book 2 came out since, and people said book 2 just isn't as good. So I have unfortunately let that like impact my opinion on these books, and therefore like impact my wanting to read these books, because I don't want to read the first one then read the second one and be really disappointed. But again, that's people's opinion. I need to stop basing what I read off of other people's opinions. So who knows, maybe I'll read both these and I'll love them. But I have book 1, I got this at the beginning of last year, so just under a year ago. So I have had this for a while, but it's fine. We'll get to it eventually. We'll get to all of these eventually. Right, next up we have a new gift, not purchase, and that is the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. So I got this for Christmas, so it was a very recent addition to the TBR, and I cannot wait to read it. This was such a good Christmas gift, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this. It's on my 26th of 2026, so I will definitely be getting into it this year. Honestly, my goal is really just to get to as many of these as possible by this year, because then if I do have like 10 or 15 left at the end of the year, I want it to be books that have been purchased. I want it to be books that have also been purchased this year. So like all the books that I have bought before 2026, or I guess maybe including ones I got for Christmas 2025, I want to have read them by the end of this year. That is my goal. I want to get through my entire backlog and finally know if I bought them for a reason, or if my reading tastes have changed too much since I bought them, for me to fully enjoy them like I would have if I'd have read them immediately. Anywho, this one was another gift from my sisters, and that is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. So this is book 1 in, I think it's just called the Prison Healer series. There are 3, it's a trilogy, not a series. Then we have 2 books in the series, but none of them are book 1. We have book 3 and book 4 in the Chronicles of Ixia. So book 3 is Fire Study and book 4 is Stormglass. This series by Maria V. Snyder. I read the first one in this series 5 years ago now, I think, and then I didn't continue. And then I picked these up 3 years ago, reread 1, read book 2, but I still have not got around to 3 and 4, which were 2 books I found in the second-hand shop, which is why I have these 2 and not the rest of them. Then we have The Poppy Walk by R.F. Kuang. This is the only R.F. Kuang book I haven't read yet, and then obviously book 2 and 3 in the Poppy Walk series, because this is a trilogy. I don't remember when I got this. It was definitely 2025, but I can't remember when in a year. But I haven't had it this long. I haven't even had it for a year yet, so this is still like a fairly new addition to the TBR. Then we have one of the actually like literally dusty books, but I don't think that's because of how long I've had it. That's just because this is like a dust magnet. But we have Ember in the Ashes and Air by Sabah Tahir. So these are technically 2 different series, but like this is a spin-off, which this is a quartet, so there are 4 books, and then this, I don't know if there are going to be other books. I think there's going to be at least a book 2. I don't know how many are planned in this series. I read this series actually originally, I think 5 or 6 years ago, which makes me feel really odd to say, but that's what it is. And then I got this recently for my birthday last year, so 5 months ago. I want to reread this series before I get to this series, because obviously because I read this so long ago, I cannot remember anything about it. So technically this just got yeeted to the floor. Lovely. It's fine. It's all good, guys. Obviously this technically isn't like a TBR, I've already aired it, but I put it back on my physical TBR shelf to remind myself that I want to read this before I read this. So we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I got this when it came out, so I think that was in April, could have been May. I think that was in April, May of last year. So I've had this for about 8 or 9 months. This is the first in duology. Obviously the second book isn't out yet because this book just came out. This is Rachel Gillig's second duology, and yeah, I can't wait to read this. This is also, I think, on my 26th of 2026. So we'll definitely be getting to this year. Then we have The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen, which I'm definitely going to be reading this month. It is on my TBR and I haven't got around to it yet, but I definitely am, because I cannot wait. And we did already pull this in November and not read it, so it's high time I read this. But this is first book in a series of 6 that is comprised of 3 duologies. So this is like book 1 of the first duology. I've had this also don't remember when I got this. I know it was definitely last year. You can kind of tell when you look at the books which ones I got last year, because they just look a lot newer and they still have that like fresh book feel about them. They haven't been sat on my bookshelves for like 3 years collecting dust and sun discoloration and all of that. But yeah, I've had this for probably like, again, 8 or 9 months. I think I bought this around the same time that I bought Night and the Moth, so not too long ago. And then we have the last 2 on my TBR, which are both by the same author. This is a very new purchase, because obviously this is like the new editions, which I personally prefer less than the old editions, but it is what it is. This is the only ones I can buy. and that is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. So this is the first in the the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, sorry, my bad. And I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I had to wait till it got republished. So I would love to have one of these in the original cover, but it's just not meant to be. And then the last book, another one that is on my TBR for this month, and that I will definitely be getting around to because I cannot wait, and that is The Serpent and the Wings of Night, also by Carissa Broadbent. This is book 1 in the Crowns of Nyaxia, this is a Crowns of Nyaxia novel, but it's book 1 in the Nightborn duet. So the Crowns of Nyaxia, I think, is at the moment 3 different duets and 3 different novellas, and then they're all interconnected. So you have the Nightborn duet, does it say in here? It doesn't. So you have like 3 different duets, and then each duet has their own novella, I think. I haven't read any of them, and this is the one that you're told to start by, so I cannot wait to jump into that world. Well, there we go. My TBR is officially empty. There's only Fred here. It's not too bad. Looking at the piles of books in front of me is like, it's really nice because I like looking at piles of books, but also like I recognize that it's not that big a TBR compared to a lot of people's TBRs. I've gotten it down since I started this reading journey. I think last year, probably about halfway through last year when I was doing book talk and everything, I think I had a TBR of 50. So I've gotten it down by like 10 books, so that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with myself, and well, obviously we're going to continue chipping away at it all year. It was good for me to like go through every book that I haven't read to kind of visualize my goal for this year, which is to get through as many of them as possible, and to visualize then which ones I've had for a really long time and I really need to get to, which ones are newer purchases so I can leave a little bit longer. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoy just sitting here and talking about books, even if it is just like really quick. This is this book, this is this book, this is like this book. I did start this booktube to talk about books because that's what I love doing, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoy watching other people do this type of video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Anywho, we're at the end of this video, so there is nothing left for it but for me to bid you a good week. So have a nice week, and I will see you next Friday for a new video. Until then, bye.